Hi guys, this is Bhaskar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be covering the basic Python data types. So this is a small summary of the data types which are present in Python. Okay, let's start with that. So basically we have two types of data types. One is a primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types, these includes the basic data structures like strings, integer, float, boolean. And apart from this, we also have a couple of data types like complex numbers and decimals. So those comes as a part of this. Those uses as derivatives of these basic data types only. So basically, you should be aware of these four data types in the primitive data types. So just a small descriptions. Basically, a string. String is a sequence of characters which is enclosed by a single quote or double quote or triple quotes if we have multiple lines. So it's basically to store a text data we can use the string data types. And one more thing I forgot to say is in Python these are dynamically typed, so declarations happens automatically when you assign a value to this variable. So you don't need to specify the data type as a string for hello world. It automatically takes it as string. So that is known as dynamically typed. Second one is the integer. This contains integer numbers. I mean the whole numbers where it contains both positive, negative as well as 0. Those are like integer numbers. Float numbers are the numbers which contains all the decimal numbers in them are considered as float numbers. It can be either positive or negative. And boolean, as you know, like boolean contains only two types of values, like this true or false and the true or false. And one more thing is Python is a case sensitive, so you need to be very careful if you are giving these values like true or false here. So it should be in a proper way. The caps should be correctly placed as it is here whenever you are trying to use in Python. And the second type is these are non-primitive data types. So they are like set of collection of values. It's not like single values. The first is list, set, tuple, and dictionary. These are basic built-in data types which Python provides us. And if you go a bit deeper into this, a list holds an ordered sequence of elements and enclosed within the square brackets. It can contain various of primitive data types like integer, floats, strings, booleans, any values it can store. Okay, and moreover there are like other methods available in the list and in all these non-primitive data types, not only in list. So I'll be covering them in the next videos. So as part of this video, it's just a summary I'm giving here. So it will be only basic examples I'll be showing you with how these lists are there. And the second one is a set, which is nothing but it holds an unordered sequence of elements and enclosed within the square brackets. And one basic feature of the sets is it returns you the unique elements which are there in that. And this is mutable set. And there's one more data types called frozen set, where you can it is similar to set but it is immutable, where we cannot change the elements in the set once we have created it. Okay, and the next one is tuple. This tuple is similar to the list, but these are immutable and which are enclosed within the square brackets. Okay, and for every non-primitive data type there is one specific elements which are enclosed, like list is considered as for square brackets and set is for curly braces, tuple is for parentheses, and dictionary is also for curly braces with name and key values. So dictionary is also an unordered collection of elements where each element contains two parts mainly. One is key and its value, and these are separated by a colon. And each element in a dictionary is called an item. Basically here name is a key and berry is a value, year is a key and 1990 is a value. So these are very important non-primitive data types which we'll be using in our Python for the writing functions, for mathematical operations, for several methods. Okay, we'll get back to those methods later in our channel. Okay, let's start practicals how we can be done this. So I've just opened a Jupyter notebook here. For this, let's start with the string. Okay, just writing hello berry. So we need to print that, so I'm just giving X that it will print. So you can see this. So this is a string of double quotes. We can also give a string as a single quotes. Hello. If they have multiple comments like this, so you can see that it's a new line has been added here. So we can use such comments, such quotes to define a string. In the string there are various ways, and one more thing I forgot to say is to know what type of data types it has stored. We have a Python has a built-in uh, method called type. Suppose if I want to see the type of X here, we can just run this, so we can get it as a string. These are about strings. So let's start with integer. Integers I'll be giving, like, you can define basically 20 and just check the type of A. Along with this I'll be printing the value as well. The next one is float. These are just B is just a variable, so you can give any type of variable there. Just to show that you can give even the decimals also, like this. Okay, I'll just print it. So you can see here the values defined. A is 0.67, B is 23.3, and C is this one. So similarly, the next is Boolean, and to also to find whether it's a float or not, you can use the type function, type of. And next is we have Boolean. So these are used to set the usually used in comparisons. So we can see that this type is Boolean and value we can define. Suppose if we set it as a small f, so it will gives you the if you say type of y, you can say that it's not defined because this is not the Boolean value, so it's a case sensitive, so we need to make sure that we give a proper cases here. Okay. And these are some of the primitive data types. And there are a lot of methods in strings, so I'll be showing them in the next videos. I don't want to make a very lengthy video in this one. And the next one is non-primitive data types, a list. So we already told that lists the first one is list. So define a list, we can use square brackets, and you can define decimals, you can define strings, you can define booleans. Okay, we can define various data types in the list. Okay, and these are ordered collections. We can access this list through indexes starting from 0. Okay, suppose for example if you want to index the first element, you can index like this, so you can access through this. So I'll be showing the various other methods what we can do in the list, because there are a lot of inbuilt methods provided by Python for the list. So we most frequently be using this data type as well in our Python programs when we write. So apart from the list, we have something called tuples. So that will be used by parentheses. Here also we can give various types of data types. And we can also check the type of this tuple. So we should get the tuple as data type, so you can see this class of tuple. Similarly here also, if you want to see, you can check type of yeah, it's a list. Okay, so similarly these are like we cannot add the elements into these tuples basically. So I'll be showing those other methods as well in the later chapter. And the next one is sets. I think, yeah, set is basically a unique collection of elements, so even that's defined as and we can loop through them also, as it is a collections. Let's see type of C. So you can see that the only difference between the sets and dictionary is dictionary is a key value pair, but the set is a continuous sequence of elements with the unique values. So that's one difference, main difference between the sets, even though we are using the square parenthesis, square brackets for defining them. This is a key and this is a value. I'm just trying to print the D and printing the type of D to just check. Okay, this is a dict. So now you can see this is where you can use these data types. Apart from this, we are also the Python itself, without using these braces, we can use the inbuilt Python functions to define them. So I'll just show them how we can use them, like Python functions. These are built-in functions. This is the one which is defined. So you can see this string, and for integer we can define as okay, next is float. We have float as well. And apart from this, we also have the conversions to convert from one data type to other data types. We can define either the list by square brackets, or you can define the list by using the list function. You can see this, it's defined as this. Similarly, we can define tuple also. You can see this tuple. And even for sets, here just to show you that the set is unique, I've just added 2 times, but when you see that the set is stores only one unique element, so you can use. And the dictionary, you can use dict. Here we store it as name. So you can see this, we have not mentioned that is a string, but automatically this one is taken as key and value. So Boolean you can give like this, so we'll see what. So it's just a number, so it gives true. Okay. So these are the some of the types of data types in Python. So how we can use the parentheses and define them, and apart from that, you can also use the built-in Python functions to define those various data types. And one more thing you need to remember is Python is case sensitive. I'll just add those points here. Python is case sensitive. Along with that, Python is dynamically typed. So when you define this variable, it automatically figures it out and assigns a appropriate data type to this. Okay. So I'll be uploading this notebook as well in the GitHub, so you can refer to that. So to just close it, and we have the categories which can be defined here is like in the text type we have a string, and numeric types we have int, float, complex, and none. Basically this none will be written whenever you're defining functions without any return type. This none will be written as an null in Python. Sequence types we have list, tuples, range, strings, where we can loop through them. And mapping type, we have dicts, usually key and value pairs, and set type, sets and frozen sets are mutable, frozen sets are immutable. Boolean types, bool. Binary types also we have, like bytes, byte array, memory views, to check for the memory views. Okay. Thank you for watching. Please do